Today I'm gonna show you a part of Stockholm that's full of history, full of wonderful sights, full of interesting tales, and full of hipsters. Come on, let's explore the island of Södermalm. Stockholm was founded in 1252, and Södermalm was actually one of the first areas to be settled outside of Old Town. The name Södermalm was first recorded June 17, 1288, in a letter from Bishop Anund from Strängnäs. But the island was actually called Åsön, Hill Island, up until the 1600s. Why the name Hill Island? Let's take a walk. This is Gentrification, the highest natural point in all of central Stockholm, and you get a pretty marvelous view of the entire city from up here. But Södermalm has other viewpoints than this mountain. Let's move in that direction, there's more to be seen. Close to Gentrification, you have Monteliusvägen with a lovely boardwalk and great views of the city and beautiful old buildings. It is a bit of a climb though, so be prepared. But then again, this is the Hill Island. On the way to Monteliusvägen, you will pass the Munich Brewery, who started in 1857 and used to brew beer for 100 years. The place actually has nothing to do with Munich, except that they liked the name and they thought it would sell more beer. Nowadays you can find a microbrewery there instead. Beer always finds a way. After Monteliusvägen, you find Mariahissen, an elevator that's not running right now, but it's still marvelous to look at. And this whole area is gorgeous to look at, with the beautiful buildings and cobbled streets. It's a pleasure to walk through here. But let's get back to one important topic: beer. Södermalm is filled with quaint old pubs like Old Twist and the old Beefeater Inn and Soldaten Svek, Svek the soldier. Fun fact, there's a pub in Prague called Svek as well, for good reason, because Svek is the main character from a Czech satire novel from 1923. Anyway, as you can tell, Södermalm is a good place to have a nice brew in historical settings. But there are some other types of pubs here as well. Let me teach you a Swedish word, sunkak. It's basically the Swedish word for a dive bar, a really crappy bar, and Södermalm has its fair share of those as well. Such as Gröna Jägaren, a place with crap beer and karaoke, always a good sign of a sunkak. And Carmen, that I actually haven't been to, but you can tell that it's a dive bar just by looking at it. So if you want cheap beer and questionable ambiance, you can find that too at Södermalm. The first settlements in Södermalm were around the Slussen area, and in the mid-14th century a chapel was built where Katarina Church now stands. People spread out during the 1500s, and by the 1800s most of Södermalm was populated. That's also when Södermalm was transformed into a poor working-class residential area. But the island has been gentrified since then, with trendy shops and expensive apartments. These days, Södermalm is a well-known hipster place with second-hand stores and weird shops, and this is where all the hipsters move as soon as they can afford an apartment. There is also culture at Södermalm, concerts and art galleries and museums. For example, there's a famous photographic museum and the Stockholm City Museum, and you can also find a transport museum and a toy museum. One of Sweden's most known composers, Carl Michael Bellman, also lived in a house here between 1770 and 1774. But it's not all pleasant history. In the late 1600s there were witch trials and executions here. At a famous trial from 1676, a dozen women were charged with witchcraft, and they were executed and buried here at the Katarina Church. If you get the urge to sing Ding Dong the Witch is Dead, don't do it here. Right next to a busy road, you'll find this piece of art called La Mano. During the 1970s, the Swedish Communist Party wanted to erect a monument for the 500 people who died during the Spanish Civil War. And this is the end result, La Mano. And it's pretty fitting, since many of the people who fought in the war actually came here from Södermalm. Let's go up to another great viewing point in Södermalm, Fjällgatan. From here you can see some other parts of Stockholm, like the lovely Djurgården and Gröna Lund. Usually you can hear the terrified screams of people riding roller coasters over there, but not now, everything is closed. Still, I think this is a great place to stop my little walk through Södermalm. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's enjoy the view, and you like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.